I don't think I've heard the level of despair and despondency. The bombardments have been as ferocious as anything we've seen in months. We're almost at like a massacre a day now. So you have got intense bombardments, heavy tank work, 24/7, and of course, Aisha, and of course, more than 2 months with nothing, no food, no medicines, no commercial activity, no aid, nothing entering the Gaza Strip apart from bombs for more than 2 months.
And James, you're painting such a bleak picture, but just going into the granular level, what are you hearing on some of the stories, some of the individual people who are going through this on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, well, so a woman I spoke to yesterday who I've been in touch with quite a lot, who's had an amputation and desperately needs a medical evacuation, but the line she used to me was the look in her children's eyes, she's no longer sure if it's hunger or fear.
Speaking of that, all this week we have seen horrific images of malnourished children. Donald Trump saying a lot of people are starving this week. How many children do you think are affected? What proportion of the population now is at risk of malnutrition?
The entire child population is at risk of malnutrition, there's no doubt. And we're not hyperbolic with this. Everything we say is based on data. And what you're alluding to here is the world's biggest nutritional body that looked at the level of famine risk in Gaza. And yes, people are now starving. Now, you know, starving is something that it's not a natural disaster. It's being inflicted on the powerless. And starving is a pretty horrible thing to see. People are eating in fancy restaurants 20 or 30 miles away. It's beyond the pale now.
I want to ask you about a specific report that we've seen about the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, Swiss registered, led by a former US Marine. They're saying that they wouldn't be able to feed some of the most vulnerable civilians from the militarised compounds that it plans to set up. What have you made of their plans so far, and do you have hope that it will be able to help?
Right now, during the ceasefire, United Nations and partners were working from around 400 distribution places, 400 to reach 2.1 million people. This organisation is talking about a handful, and a handful in the south. So it's using aid as a bait to force people to go to the south to a handful of distribution points. So you're supposed to walk a few miles, pick up 25 kilograms. So a woman I spoke to 10 days ago with 2 children whose husband's been killed and she's got an amputation. On one leg with 2 little children, she's to walk several miles, queue for however long, if she gets to the south, to pick up her 25 kilograms. It's unworkable, and the only way to save that population is to let the legal entities and follow international humanitarian law, let the United Nations do what it's been doing.
We've seen today reports that people are back around the table. You know, many people have been speaking out about the suffering that they have seen in Gaza, but isn't it the harsh reality that Israel's tactics here have worked in bringing Hamas back to the negotiating table, and humanitarian aid was not a condition for these talks?
Look, I'm not privy to the talks, and I think that there's been so much discussion in terms of where the goodwill has lied in terms of negotiations. The fact is, international law, of which Israel is a signatory, and Israel is the occupying power, has a legal responsibility to allow food aid to not starve a population. Those things are very clear. So whatever discussions are going on, and I'm not privy to those, whatever discussions are going on, you cannot use starvation as a method to negotiate.